Hey everyone, welcome back to another explainer. Today we are going absolutely massive. We're counting down the 10 most read books in all of human history. We're talking about texts that billions of people have actually held in their hands, dog-eared the pages of, and passed down through generations. Let's just jump right into it. So let me ask you this. Which book has sold over 5 billion copies? 5 billion. It's honestly hard to even wrap your head around a number like that, right? While some of the titles on our countdown today might literally be sitting on your shelf right now, the sheer unimaginable scale of the top books, oh, it's going to shock you for sure. Section 1. Modern Magic and Mystery. Kicking things off at number 10, we've got J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series sitting at a staggering 600 million copies sold worldwide. And, it endures because it offers this deep sense of belonging and identity. The kids who grew up with Harry in the 90s, well, they're adults now, and they're reading these exact same books to their own kids. If you haven't revisited these as an adult, trust me, it hits completely differently. But hey, before there were wizarding schools, there was the Shire. At number 9, we have J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. This absolute epic of a fantasy has sold over 150 million copies. And get this, that's not even counting The Hobbit. Tolkien essentially invented modern high fantasy. He built an entire world from the ground up, complete with its own complex languages, detailed maps, and really rich mythologies. Coming in at number 8, we have a book that genuinely shocked the publishing world, and that's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Originally published in 1988 in Portuguese, it became a massive global phenomenon. We're talking translated into 80 languages and selling over 150 million copies. It carries this really quiet, powerful message about following your personal legend that just seems to resonate across all cultures and ages. It's the kind of book you finish on a lazy Sunday afternoon and literally feel like something inside you shifted. Down at number 7 with 80 million copies sold is Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. Now, this brilliantly illustrates the power of a true cultural moment. Back in 2003, this unstoppable page-turner practically broke the publishing industry. People who hadn't touched a book in years were finishing it in a single weekend, creating these crazy months-long wait lists at local libraries. Section 2. Pioneers of Classic Fiction. Let's take a look at how this builds chronologically. With Don Quixote published way back in 1605 and A Tale of Two Cities serialized in 1859, we can really appreciate how literature from literally hundreds of years ago is still competing directly with modern hits on our top 10 list. And that brings us to number 6, Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. With over 500 million copies sold, this is widely considered to be the very first modern novel. It's this hilarious yet kind of heartbreaking story of a man who reads way too many chivalric romances, loses his mind, and decides to become a knight, dragging his very confused friend Sancho Panza along for the ride. Arriving at number 5, we have Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, which opens with arguably the most famous line in all of literature. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. This masterpiece of a French Revolution drama has sold an estimated 200 million copies. And you know what's fascinating? How it was consumed? Written in 1859 as a serial. People read it weekly. It was essentially the Netflix of its era, completely devoured by a hungry public. Section 3. The Philosophical Fable. Number 4 is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. With 200 million copies sold across 300 languages, it is one of the most translated books ever written. And sure, while it's technically categorized as a children's book, ask literally any adult who rereads it and they will tell you it's actually this incredibly profound reflection on love, loss, loneliness, and how to see the world clearly. Just listen to this quote from it. "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." So the crucial point here is this. If you haven't read this iconic text recently, you really need to pick it up. Read it, reflect on it, and maybe even let yourself cry a little bit. It really is that powerful. Section 4. Pillars of Human History. Now, as we enter the top 3, we are dealing with a massive disparity in scale. Down at number 4, a standard mega bestseller sits at 200 million. But then, boom, we jump to 800 million for number 3 and an absolutely astonishing 5 billion for number 2. The texts at the very top of human history operate on a completely different mathematical plane. At number 3 is the Holy Quran, with over 800 million distributed copies. Though it's important to note this number is likely much, much higher given digital and hand-copied versions throughout history. For over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide, this functions not just as a book, but as a daily recited living guide. It acts as a central pillar for an entire civilization's art, law, science, and philosophy. And here is the staggering figure for our number 2 spot: 5 billion. Yes, estimates range between 5 and 6 billion copies for quotations from Chairman Mao, which most people simply know as the Little Red Book. It's really essential to objectively contrast the distribution methods of the top 2 texts in human history. While the Bible spread through centuries of global translation and religious dispersion, the Little Red Book achieved its numbers through mandatory state distribution. During China's 1960s Cultural Revolution, it was handed out to nearly every single person in the country as a mandatory daily survival tool. Which brings us to the number 1 most read book in human history, the Bible. Over the centuries, an estimated 5 to 7 billion copies have been distributed. It has been translated completely into over 700 languages, with portions of it existing in over 3,500 languages globally. To conclude the factual breakdown of our number 1 spot, we have to look at its foundational impact. As a matter of historical record, the Bible has fundamentally shaped Western and world history, establishing the moral framework of entire civilizations and heavily influencing global law, literature, art, music, and philosophy. Section 5. The final chapter. Well, we've taken quite a journey in this explainer, haven't we? From boy wizards to revolutionary pamphlets, right through to ancient scriptures. So I want to leave you with a question to think about. Have you read any of these? Which book's sheer scale surprised you the most today? Take that curiosity, and most importantly, go read something. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.